and then anyone else who wanted to be. That way we don't, or the laborers, or we don't, because we're all laborers in our own right.
That's
That way
right.
we don't beat each other up with our engrams and
Mm-hmm.
personal realities. And I remember the minister saying, we know how not to treat somebody else the way that we were treated. And once we really hone in on this tech and really follow the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the bull baiting tactic won't affect us. We'll be able to respond and not react. Brother Lukeman mentioned if somebody spitting our faces or his face, it's like, wait a minute, hold up. How do I respond to this? Master Fard Muhammad, I believe he was spit on or spit in his face or punched in the face. And he's like, no, don't do nothing. We have to be able to face this. I'm down here in the deep south right now, traveling with one of the sisters. And I was verbally attacked in the laundromat. And it's like, hold up, sis. She like, oh, I'm saying you staring at me. I'm like, no, ma'am. And the sister said to me, Sister Sharon, don't even bother. I wasn't going to react, but I was going to respond like, what's going on? But, the sister's like, don't even say anything, not today. Thank Allah. And then, I've been traveling different places and our people notice our energy is different. Like, what is it about y'all? Y'all angels? Y'all vibrating really high. So when we go into the community, Brother Lukeman, you mentioned the movie They Clone Tyrone. Just the tone level that our people are on. Some of us also at times, because we go up and down on the tone scale on a daily basis. I know I do. And I'm able to bring myself back from that real quicker than what I was able to before. But to just notice how everybody's on that same tone. And it's like, it's community engrams. So just, learning the tech, studying the tech is allowing my eyes to be open. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave an instruction and he's removing the scales from my eyes. So, praise be to Allah. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Shane. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Brother Scott.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry. Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to say something to Brother Wadu in my start. I can't quite quote you exactly, but you were talking about how you had pulled a clip, and some people, I guess, may not understand just pulling a clip out of what the minister's saying. But in 1979, the minister did a lecture called A Warning to the Hypocrites. And it was all the fire. He brought all the heat.
Yes,
but
sir.
in it, he said, there's not one of you here today that Allah, through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, does not have a message for. What you have to do is listen for your message. And if you go forward, 40 plus years to the Swan Song, and he said that he was reading our notes, so it's not one size fit all with the minister. He's tuning into people, and he's giving us messages that are for us. And even you and I may hear the same message, but where we're sitting in the room, that light may come at us in a different color, So that was right on time. And I really appreciate what you put out. The second thing I wanted to say, because I was listening to my sister just now, and I I'm right there with y'all. I know for me, my Islamic journey, and I'm sure for every believer, has been grueling. I found myself, just the minister when he came to Tuskegee, and I'm really reflecting and re-reflecting on his visit with us down here lately. And I'm seeing so much more into it, but he was on his way out the door. We were at the city hall, and he looked at me and he said, "Brother, my coming here is going to greatly increase the pace of your work." But then he paused, he said, "But it's also going to greatly increase the pace of your enemy's work against you." So before the minister came, I was here and other places, and I was working, and it was like in a bubble, right? It was just work. I 20, 30, 40 children at a time over the summers, and we get to set the curriculum. It's our children. We making money together, and whatever we could think up, it was just like we would just do. And there was no real resistance because all of our proposals were what Reverend Bevel taught us. He said, make all your proposals constitutional in nature and the health, interests, rights, and needs of everybody. So there's no real resistance. Then the minister came. And when the minister comes into your city, he comes, but then this like wave of like way out energy comes with him. And a lot of it's chaotic. Some of it's downright evil, right? Not the minister, just what comes with him. It's not just him coming to your city. And I'm the point person, so I'm catching all of it, from the ADL to the SPLC to the Negro here to the white folks there. Then there's us. And you take these hits. And in my case, it would just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. I'd move and boom, these hits would come. And the places where we used to just, just like barrel through, now there's all these barriers and stuff. And it affects the tone. And studying Dianetics has been a great pleasure for me, like pleasure moments, just in the study and the cognitions.
Yes, sir.
But a couple weeks ago, I was blessed. I had to go pick up a tractor. And while I was picking up my tractor in the city I was in, a brother who's part of the Church of Scientology, who used to audit me from another city, he was in that city. And he spent, I think we did close to 14 hours of auditing over a 4-day period. It's different when you get audited every day or every other day. Mr. Hubbard says there's something with the mind and a 3-day period. And that's even reference in the scriptures. He say after 3 days, on the 4th day, if you're getting audited, that's a new case. That's like starting your case all over. So he was encouraging people. And this one, I think you find that in either standard procedure lecture, in the professional course lectures, or it's in the accessibility chart. It's in one of those where he talks about that, the 3-day period. And so he was encouraging everybody that you should audit every other day or, within that 3-day period. I took a personality test before I started, and I saw where my numbers were, and I saw some things that were concerning on my personality test. And then I took a personality test after that 14 hours, and my chart had jumped. I mean, some stuff went up by 40 points. This brother is all Dianetic auditors, after completing that course, you are a professional auditor until you are not. But then you have something I call experienced and skilled auditors. Those are the auditors who actually audit people and are learning their trade. So this brother gave me new life. I mean, like I was looking back, like I saw where my communication had dropped way down. You know, it's just like, you know what? Like one day I woke up and chose violence. It was just done with niggas. Like I'm done with niggas. I'm done. All of them, you know, white and black. I'm just done, you know. And so like my posture had become very defensive. And it was like I put a wall around me because everybody who got close to me took a shot, right? So you build these walls. But if can't nothing come in, then can't nothing get out. So I'm cutting off my own ability to project love to people that I know I care about, right? To my community. It suffers from my suffering, right? So this auditing that I got, man, it was phenomenal. And what it gave me at this point, just looking back, because you know, they give you the thing where you write your success story up and all that, and that's cool when you have like maybe kind of dramatic wins in the moment. And I had a few, but the other wins you don't notice until several days or even a week afterwards. And you observing yourself and you observing your relationship to the environment, then you start to see, wow, right? So I'm not where I was before the minister came down to visit me in my communication with people. When he came, he remarked on this, that we had assembled all the movers and shakers in our whole county. He met everybody from the president of the university and all the county commissioners on down to the brother and sister on the street, right? Not at that place. Where I am right now is I am conscious of my communication and I have a choice. You know, I can choose to communicate or I can choose to hold back a little bit, right? I can choose that. Before the auditing, I had one gear. Nigga, leave me alone. This is my own gear. But now I have a choice. And I'm saying that, I said all that to say to us with all of our getting this knowledge, this pristine knowledge, y'all, we have got to audit each other. We got to do that.
Yes, sir.
Not once in a while. Any auditing is better than none, but we got to start. This is love. He said, this is what's going to separate us. Who going to sacrifice to establish our faith? So we have to sacrifice our most valuable thing, which is time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to give our time to each other in a worthy cause, in a worthy way, where we are spending a few days a week auditing each other and being audited, because that's where the big gains come in. And then when you get audited now, then you have to also do self-care. You got to pick up your, it's in my other room, that self-analysis book, and maintenance ourselves so that we keep the space. You know, when you get those wins, you get those gains, that you retain them through that self-analysis work. You know, it's just, I mean, I'm insistent because I'm seeing the effect on myself and I'm observing my behaviors a couple weeks ago as compared to now, even my outlook. And I tell you what, one more thing, family, I don't want to be too long, but I just want to share
brother.
this
Take your
with you.
time.
You know, we're told to know ourselves. This brother that I was working with, he is a conscientious auditor. Like, he really cares about auditing. He studies his charts, and according to the Oxford charts with the org, this brother is considered one of the best auditors in the world. When they look at his before and after charts with the pre-clear. And I started studying the chart, and the words on the chart, the areas that they look, and it's like opening up all these other areas. But the brother sent me down my time track. And he's intuitive. He knew he listens. So he sent me different areas. I wasn't expecting some of the areas. I was like, man, I want to audit on this. But he's the auditor. So you go. And as I'm going down my track, I'm running into things. I guess you would call them postulates. In atonement, we would call them resolves that I made when I was 3. Right? Now I'm a 3-year-old and I'm looking at something. And I say, oh, okay, this is what that is. But it wasn't. It's just what it would look like to a 3-year-old. But some of the things that I made my resolves on have been driving me from the time I was 3. And the thing that was driving me when I was 3 was wrapped up in a lock sitting on top of an engram from when I was 3 months old.
Damn.
And I'm 3 months old, looking through my 3-month-old eyes at a situation. And I'm going through all my perceptics. And I can feel this power in me at 3 months old. It's like I'm still the same person that I was in 3 months old. I've just got experiences, but all the intelligence, all that's there with us. But I had an engram. And this lock where I made my resolve was a reinforcement of a misperception at 3 months old that have been driving me for over 50 years.
Damn.
I could not know myself. I couldn't. How do you get back to 3 months old and deal with something? No, it's just a resolve that's done. And now here I am, locked and loaded and ready. You ain't gonna do me like that again. It's 3 months old, Jack. It's like, because you're 3 months old, you're just dealing with your mom and or your dad and your family. And these things are shaping us. So it is of utmost importance that we not just study the tech and talk about the tech, get audited. All of us that want to go clear and everything, that's great, get clear. But you know what? Get audited. Because getting a release, man, Mr. Hubbard said, if you get a true release, that you like a temporary clear. So get audited, get this emotional weight of the years. If you're working in God's vineyard, they're going to be thieves and robbers there, busting you in the head. You got to get that pain and the emotion of that pain up off you so that you can be a more fit and happier laborer, because there's nothing like a happy laborer, fam. Mm-hmm. When you in this work and you're doing, because you're a God, you can do anything you want to do until you start to believe that you can. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to encourage us all, that piece that Brother Wadu played with the minister talking in 2004 about it being easy to follow him in the cool of the day. Now we're getting to the hot part. Mm. The conditions the fire is being stoked because we're walking into the hot part where maybe you're going to see some departures, and you have to be able to hold your line, because even if we lose or give up this body for this truth and our assistance of the warner to the nations, our bloodline is secured in the sacrifice. So I just want to share that with us, and thank you, Brother Luqman, for this platform.
Thank you, Brother Scott. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Praises be to Allah.
Sir. Go ahead, Brother Doctor.
Yes, sir. I want to thank Brother Scott for that sentiment all together of what he shared, but in particular, his initial remarks about captioning the minister in just segments. I appreciate that because I was worried, and I'm still in prayer about it to make sure that it's in line. But I think what you said puts me a little bit more at ease about it. My hand was raised out of what you said, Brother Lukeman, about the messenger auditing the minister. And when you said that, my mind immediately went to the account that the minister shared with us. And maybe it's the same one, and maybe there were two different ones. But one was when he said that he was at the table with the messenger and had been accused of taking Mother Tainetta Muhammad's work, and the messenger was just pounding him about having taken her artistic work. And eventually he said that, he just submitted to what the messenger was saying, and said, okay, if you say I did, I did. And that was one thing that came to mind. And then I also recall him saying that the messenger remarked about him and saying, I've done everything I could to this man to even make him cry. And that I don't remember the rest of it, but up to the point of making the minister cry, that's how hard the messenger was on the minister. And he would not break, or he would not fold under all of that. So that's what came to mind when it comes to taking much and the bull baiting. And then the last thing that I wanted to say was in regard to what you said about the schematics, that we now have the schematics. And then it made me think about and help me out with the order of it. You said that the first scientist teaches in formulae.
Yes, sir.
And then the second one breaks down the formulae into equations, or do I have it backwards?
The way the minister quoted that, he says, Allah is a scientist who speaks in the language of formulae. He's in reference to Most High Elijah Muhammad. He's the second scientist who looks into the formulae and breaks it down.
Yes, sir.
That he represented himself as the lead wire that breaks down the complex truths so that even a fool would understand.
Yes, sir. So the word schematic in my mind came up as the breakdown of things from the formula, because a schematic, I'm thinking of, if you look at electronics or electrical diagrams, it's giving you where to connect the junction box, or where the transistors may go, and the resistance gets input into the electronics. So that's what resonated with me as you were speaking. And I'd just like to say, if Brother Scott wouldn't mind, if he's an auditor, or if he has the number or contact for the brother that he was referring to, if he could put that in the chat or share that, I'd appreciate having that as well. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Brother Wadu, as you were speaking, the question came to mind was, is lesson number 1 a schematic of the reactive mind? That's a thought that just popped in my head. So now I got to go and reread lesson number 1 in a new unit in time. I've been looking at the devil, Musa, Columbus, and those different aspects in lesson number 1 as different valences. And Columbus is a certain valence that he went off in the wrong direction trying to find something. So he had a held down 7, correct?
Right. Yes, sir. Wrong
Okay.
information.
You know, and then when you look at Yakub, you know, that's the suppressive, causing them to fight and kill one another. You know, and when you look into history, they would teach the wives to go in and say certain things. That's the PTS, right? PTS let you know that a suppressive is nearby, right? Y'all with me?
Yes.
Now,
Okay,
PTS
means
stands for what
Potential
again?
trouble
Robert?
source. Potential trouble source.
the PTS is a
Potential.
potential trouble source. If you look,
Right.
if you look in on a Quranic, from the Quranic standpoint, it says Abu Lahab's hand shall perish and he shall perish, his wealth, and that which he earns will not avail him. He will burn in fire, giving rise to flames, and his wife, the bearer of slander, upon her neck a halter of twisted rope. The wife is the PTS and Abu Lahab is the suppressive. Does that make sense?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So the principles we already have. This is just all the stuff that's come to my mind as you were talking, Brother Wadu, that our lessons are like the schematics of how the mind operates, and the different characters that are in the different lessons could represent different valences and different aspects of the reactive mind. So we understand our lessons. Lesson number 1 lays the base of our work today and gives the student a clear knowledge of himself and his heavenly home. We understand our lessons, then we understand how the reactive mind works. This is just the stuff that comes to mind as we're talking. When you look at lesson number 2, when you're talking about Pilon and the 4 laborers, hell, those are 4 aspects of the reactive mind, right?
Yes, sir.
So our lessons are not just lessons. These are mental schematics. But if we just stay on the level of just recitation, then we just become a donkey carrying the supreme wisdom. We're just a donkey with wisdom. And when we come back, what are we? We're just a donkey carrying books, a jackass carrying books, because we're not getting into the safe full of riches, as the minister said, because we don't have the combination. As we crack open the lessons and we can make the marriage, we can see the parallels between the tech and our lessons. As we crack the lessons, wouldn't we be cracking our own mind?
Sir.
Go ahead.
So our
Yes,
lesson, to me, this is just why I'm looking at and the minister's lectures. When you go back, he's given us the keys of how to crack open. He's been giving us the damn key. Excuse my language. He's been giving us the keys the whole time. But we're so busy. Go ahead, minister, teach. Applause is not going to get us through these 3 years. When he's not here, if we can't find the light within ourselves and within one another, we're not going to make it.
Come on, brother.
We're not going to just make it. We're not going to just make it on watching YouTube videos.
Go ahead.
We're not going to make it by listening to DVDs. We got to be able to talk to the God within ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's part of what could be meant when the minister makes the statement that in his absence, we have to maintain contact with him.
Contact. Yes, sir.
Come on.
Recitation of just going through the lessons is not going to save us. I'm just speaking. That's just my opinion. We got to be able to crack open the lessons and find, I think it's Surah number 24, ayat number 35. The light of God is a lamp, and the lamp is in a glass, lit from a blessed olive tree, neither eastern nor western. It's producing heat, though fire touch it not. Light upon light. We have to find that light upon light within ourselves and be able to get through this dark period. And then, as you can take, this is something from Buddhism, you can take a candle and you can light 100 candles in a room. And guess what? You never take away the light of the candle that lit all the other candles, right?
Correct.
Right.
We got to find the light within ourselves, and we have to keep each other lit during this dark period we're going to have to go through. So when the sun comes back up, he can see which candles are still burning. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So family, it's 12:30. We'll let Sister Tina speak. Sister Sharon. Nope, you had your hand up, Sister Sharon. Sister Sharon, you share what you share.
Yes.
I'll probably save the ARC Triangle for Sunday because it's already been 2.5 hours. And the funniest thing about it is, as soon as Brother Wadu showed that clip, I figured out how to fix what needed to be fixed. That just tells me that all this was by design. So, Sister Tina, the Sister Sharon, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. I mean, unless y'all want to stay longer, but I'll leave that up to the believers to decide. But go ahead, Sister Tina.
Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. Well, it's just two things. Sister Peggy put something in the chat regarding the rulers being compassionate with their rule and learning it by way of the teachings and this text. And I think that's so beautiful because compassion is one of the chief attributes of Allah, beneficence, mercy. But and the other thing is when you mentioned staying in contact with the minister and being in communication with Allah within ourselves, and having that light within ourselves, it made me think about prayer. Sunday, Brother Yusuf, he was so passionate in regards to prayer and how when we find ourselves having some of us say meltdowns and things like that, it's probably because we have not been into our prayers. And I'm learning by way of prayer that communication with Allah, it's a practice in the communication with Allah. For me, I'm learning that that's part of where the ritual is leading me to. And talking about Salat. And in the technology dealing with the theta mess, the theta and the mess, when I'm saying my prayers, I pay attention to my voice, and that helps keep me in present time. I pay attention to my voice and how it's impacting on the air, which is the mess, how my thought, which is the theta, is impacting with the mess, the air, which means the sincerity of my thought in the moment. So it's taken me to another level in regards to my communication process by way of prayer. So I just wanted to say that when you had mentioned our communication with Allah, that prayer is awesome, awesome practice in our communication with Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Oh boy. Here's an assignment for us. Ask yourself the question, and I want us to look at this from the standpoint of our Islam and the tech. Is prayer similar or equivalent to processing?
Yes, sir.
And if it is, how? That's number one. How? Because, and then look at prayer with respect to straight wire and look at prayer with respect to lock scanning. Because now this is my assignment. I'm putting this on myself. I want to go back and dig deeper into straight wire and lock scanning, and then dig into what the Most High Elijah Muhammad said about prayer from Message to the Black Man, and then see if there's some equivalence, some ARC there. That's the first thing. Second thing is this, and this thought came to mind, Sister Tina, as you were thinking. Another thing in SRD, and it's in other aspects of the tech, you have what's called a cycle of communication. And there's elements. We were going to get into it today, but time is on us, so inshallah we'll do this on Sunday. But just to hit it briefly, a cycle of action is when you have a source point and you have a receipt point, and then there's a distance between the two. And there's a communication that's transferred from source, like I'm speaking right now as source point for this, and it's going across the distance to you, and you become the receipt point. And then as we say, yes, sir, and that's right, and all that, we are duplicating. We are saying that we have received the information and we are kind of duplicating that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But that's not a complete cycle. Okay, the complete cycle is then you become source. You produce the message across the distance. Then I receive it as effect. And I say, thank you for that. So that's two-way communication is the completion of a cycle. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what happens is communication can go in one direction. And when there is a blockage on that cycle, that's where the aberration is, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So when there's not a complete cycle, that implies that there's a barrier there, correct?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to read this last thing and then I'm going to be quiet. But something that Sister Tina said is right here. Duplication. Of course, now I'm not going to be able to find it. Okay. Now, I say that to say this. I say that to say this. Put yourself in this situation. Let's say there's a person that you're trying to get in contact with. Someone who you care about. Someone who you want to share information with. Now remember, affinity, reality, communication. Affinity is the nearness of two objects in space at the same time. And the best affinity you can have is two things kind of occupying the same space, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Reality is agreement, and communication is the exchange of ideas, correct?
Okay.
Now this is just a teaser of what's coming Sunday, inshallah. Could we say that, so we say affinity is nearness, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Allah says in the Holy Quran, in many different places, about nearness to him, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
There lies the affinity. In Arabic, the same word for agreement is the same word for covenant. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but to have a covenant relationship is to be in agreement, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere in the Holy Quran where you see nearness, you're looking at affinity. Everywhere in the Holy Quran you see covenant, you're looking at agreement or reality. Every place you see salat or prayer, you're looking at communication.
Yes.
Now, as soon as the adhan goes off, and I'm saying this for me, I'm not pointing the fingers at no one, I'm saying this for me. But when the adhan goes off, that is a time period where Allah has set up a time period for ARC, correct?
Sir.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Allah wants us to be near to him, in agreement with him, and in communication.
Ooh.
What takes place when we turn off our adhan and we don't make our prayer? We're saying, outside of being in circumstances where we just can't pray, we might be at work and can't do it. Other than that, and I'm using this sword to cut my head off. Am I saying that I don't want to be near to you? I'm not in agreement with you, nor do I want to communicate with you. This is something to think about. Just something to think about. But that is where the PowerPoint, our presentation was going. But a lot, we planning a lot of plans, and this has been incredible. But that's where we were going with the ARC triangle. We're going to look at ARC from the standpoint of the Holy Quran, our teachings, and we're going to hit it from what the minister has taught, Most High Elijah Muhammad has taught, bringing the ARC triangle back home and showing how the more you are in ARC, it's called duplication. Does that make sense? It's called
Yes,
duplication.
sir.
Was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in ARC with the Savior?
Absolutely.
So then, therefore, he duplicated, right? He made
Yes.
all it
Yes, sir.
up into himself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect ARC.
Oof.
The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad departed for 3 years and said he was going to return, but he came back in the person of who?
Minister.
That's perfect ARC. That's perfect duplication, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
in mathematics, if A equals B and B equals C, then A has to equal C, correct?
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Brother Scott, what room are you in right now?
My children's schoolroom.
Okay. It's a fact that Brother Scott is in his children's schoolroom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a fact that Brother Scott is wearing a light green shirt. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That light
Yes, sir.
green shirt, therefore, has to be in the children's schoolroom.
Right.
That's called the transitive law of mathematics. So now, if A equals B, B equals C, and A equals C, how can D become like A?
It has to equal B and C.
All it has to do is equal C, and it automatically equals A and B, correct? How can we at this unit of time become the most like the Savior?
Allahu Akbar.
Line our
Equal the
minds up.
We have to equal the minister.
Just close the gap.
That's right.
That is
Close
fact.
the gap between ourselves and the minister, and
Come on.
A and B automatically take care of themselves, right? But we have people that
Yes,
try to
sir.
make a law, but you want to bypass the minister. You can't do that.
It won't work.
It's not going to work that way. So, Sister Tina, Sister Sharon, Brother Scott, and then I promise we'll close out because.
Oh, my hand is down. I
Okay.
forgot to put it down.
That's okay, no problem. Go ahead, Sister Sharon.
Yes, sir. I wanted to go back to earlier when you were talking about the nervous system and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And with myself, I was having an issue with my endocrine system. And it was causing anxiety. My nerves was like shot.
Mm-hmm.
But since I've been being audited and, doing some auditing, but mainly getting audited, it's been releasing the anxiety. And of course, being more focused on my prayers. And my body is healing on its own. They wanted to give me medication. They wanted to cut me open. I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I've been going, inside for the healing and in my mind. And on the tone scale, at the top of the tone scale, or on the it's a stair step that I have with dealing with iridology. And on the top level is enthusiasm. And on the tone scale, it's the same thing. But down the tone scale a little bit, if I could back up with dealing with, I think it's around 3.0 or 3.5. And on the stepping scale of iridology is where the thyroid is. And it deals with anger, frustration, holding back what it is that you need to say. And just keeping all of that trapped inside, that fire, that anger, that energy causes an issue with the nervous system. But being, audited and everything, my body is starting to heal on its own. Another thing I wanted to mention about going clear or becoming clear, there's a lot of whispers that go around about that. If you're trying to reach that goal, some people think you're trying to become a Scientologist. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to be a Scientologist. I want to be clear. I want to be in my own valence, in my own personality, not everybody else's. So, I had some wrestling with that, and I'm just like, you know what, put those voices to sleep. So you mentioned earlier, Brother Lukman, about being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, let me go inside myself. Let me be quiet and cut out, the outside voices. Let me deal with what's internal. Let me deal with what's going on with me. And I found so much relief in that, in following the instructions of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He mentioned during Savior's Day, be quiet, stop being involved in everything, or involving everything or everyone into what it is that I'm striving to do for myself, becoming one with Allah, becoming one in my own self, in my own right. There was one more point I wanted to make. Sister Tina had mentioned something. But for the most part, just being audited is so freeing. And this is the point I wanted to make. Just being audited, Brother Scott talked about when he was 3 months old. I went to a conversation that my mother had with me when I was about 3 years old. And she was talking to me about people not liking her and not wanting her to be successful. And I took that into myself. I grew up thinking that people didn't like me, or I caused people to not like me. So now I recognize that, and it's like, okay, let's take this up in session. Whatever comes up in me, it's like, okay, I need to get audited about this. And the auditor that I use now, or see now, she's like, you got to come in for a session. And that 3 day is so key. And man, I hit the roof about 2 weeks ago. I wrote my success story, and I'm like, I'm that lion in the cage. I'm unlocking those rusty locks. All praises due to Allah, and moving on to the next level, and forcing myself, or getting that force back in myself to move forward, and knowing that there's no God but Allah, and He didn't create us to fear, except Him alone. Nothing or no one has the power that Allah has, Master Fard Muhammad. So I just wanted to bring those points up. It was something else, but for the sake of time, inshallah, I can talk about it on Sunday.
Well, make sure you write it down so it don't slip.
Oh, yes, sir.
Write it down. So we're gonna go to Brother Scott, and then we will let the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have the final words. I think I did find the clip I was looking for. So go ahead, Brother Scott.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to make 3 points. First one, to Sister Sharon. There's a video on YouTube, and I believe it's an article as well. And I don't know if you sent this to me, Brother Lukman, or if I just stumbled across it, but it was from Mother Tanetta Muhammad, and it says the new educational system begins with silence.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The second thing is this past Sunday, our little brother, our powerful little brother, Daniel Muhammad, carried the lecture at Mosque Mariam. And he shared that the minister had called the executive council. It was a meeting. I believe it was Brother Daniel that shared this. And the minister said on the phone that the fusion is complete. And that speaks to the nuclear physics that's bound up in the teaching. Mm-hmm. And it speaks to that space of affinity where they are one. And I think that, while that statement in and of itself is profound and a reason for celebration, it always behooves us to ask the question, why? Why did he share that? What did he want his group to know, right? What does this portend? You know, when he's speaking, his words are worthy of meditation, you know, as a rule, but then to say the fusion is complete, now who's speaking? Is this Louis Farrakhan doing an analysis of his state of being, or is this an announcement from the Lord of the worlds? You know, and there's always more to the words. And finally, to the point you were making, it made the ARC. So here you have the garden in the Genesis, and it closes with the man and his wife were naked and were not ashamed. That is perfect ARC. But then you go another chapter and love and truth, Allah, God, who is love and truth, walks up on the man and his wife, and they hide behind a tree, which now says that their ARC has been interrupted and the man is hiding, right? So now here the Don goes off for prayer. Allah showed up. He waiting to meet with those that he loves so much, and they can't come to the meeting because they've been hiding in line. And they ready to give it up. So then Allah begins to ask questions. This is God. But God, the all-knowing, didn't walk up on Adam and start, what do you call it? Goodness. In Arlington, you're not supposed to give anybody diagnose. What do you call it?
Evaluate.
Invalidate. He came up and asked the question, Adam, where you at? Why are you hiding? Did you eat what I told you not to? And then you see it again with the son of Adam, Cain. Why are you angry? Why has your countenance fallen? Then he asked what I think is one of the most profound questions in all the scriptures. If you do well, will you not be accepted? If you don't do well, sin is crouching at your door. Its desires for you, but you must master it. But he asked him, if you do well, will you not be accepted? That's like God asking, do my universe still work right? You know, I mean, my stuff still function, don't it? Right? You know, so if you do this, you will get that. I mean, it's a pure science conversation from the Lord of the worlds, you know, but it struck me that was Allah working to get affinity back through the communication. And he asked the questions, you know, so I just wanted to kind of bear witness and throw that out there. And that's what it stimulated in terms of thought when you were sharing that. So again, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Scott. You know, we all in our own lives are building our part of the mother plane, and we get a chance to come together and put our pieces together.
Yes, sir. True indeed.
Sister Ania, we haven't heard from you today, so I'm definitely going to open the floor up to hear what you have to say.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And I'll keep it very brief. But when Brother Scott mentioned Brother Daniel and his comment about the fusion, I just wanted to relay a experience that I had earlier this week in conversation with my husband, Brother Wahid. I kept referring to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when I realized I had said it, I tried to correct myself and say, you know, and I said, well, you know what I meant to say. And so I went back again and tried to repeat what I was trying to say, and I did it again. And then later on in the conversation, in referring to the minister, I did it a third time and referred to him as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But at that point, I had not yet heard Brother Daniel's statement, because Sunday, when I was listening to the lecture, I was in and out of the room and was missing certain parts of it. And so it wasn't until later, early part of the week, that when I did hear Brother Daniel's statement, that it made me realize that I actually, that there was something to that in referring to the minister as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that speaks to what Brother Scott was just saying about that fusion having taken place. So I just wanted to quickly share that. Thank you.
Praise due to Allah.
Briefly, Brother Lukman, I don't have my hand, that's why I could not raise it.
Mhm.
The minister himself told us a couple of times. First, he told us the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad took him into his mind. And later on, in another lecture, he said the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad took him into the mind of Master Fard Muhammad. So now, the Master Fard Muhammad is the God of this time, of the universe. Okay. And later on, he came again with another lecture. He said Master Fard Muhammad took him into the mind of the original God. So now, if we know that, well, who is he? Since he has been into those minds. Yes, he is a God among us, but we have to see what kind of a God too, or how much power he has. And recently, he made a lecture. He said he doesn't want to demonstrate his power. Why he has to say that? Because the man has so much power that if he was to boast about it and to start demonstrating his power, I don't know where everything would be. Because we are in the process of the resurrection of the dead. Now we're talking about everything. Are we yet resurrected? So we have to really analyze self and see where we stand. Because oh man, this is heavy stuff, because I thought I was doing good. But when I start looking at this guy, and this guy is telling me a lot I did not know. All those things I have embraced, that's good. But I've never tried to confront this one. And guess what? Master Fard Muhammad himself told us in the very first instruction, when he gave us that lesson number 1, he said it gives us a clear knowledge of ourselves, a clear knowledge of self and my heavenly place. How much have I learned of myself? So that I can say I know about my environment, my heavenly environment. He told us we are God. Am I demonstrating the godliness? Because there is certain things that got to be known and done to exercise that power. Look at the beginning of man. I was just a little amphibian. And then they pushed me out. I become a little creature that can hardly do anything. So I'm vegetables. Then I start having motion. I'm crawling like a snake. And I become a 4-legged one. Then I become two-legged one. Now I start examining the environment, but the environment is not always pleasant. You got a lot of things that is going against your growth. And sometimes we fall into agreement with them. So that become my reality.
Mm.
How do I break that reality to establish the new one that God came to give me?
Mhm.
God is love. What is love? I'm looking at love according to the definition of man. Oh, you got a girl, so you married with them and this and that. You call that love. And sometimes we take love for lust. Sometimes we take love for sex. But have I yet discovered love? If I had discovered love, I definitely don't need to look for God anymore because he's already here. In the beginning was the Word. Okay, I can put that word for love now. And the Word was with God. The love was with God. He come and teach us, and the Word become flesh. So now, do I have that notion? If I come out there in a public, will they see me as a God? Do they see the love emanating from me? So you see why I had to have problem with this, because I'm still studying it. How many times have I step back from certain a mission that we have? I can use all kind of excuse why it could not be done. Where has the love gone? Because if I have the love in me, everything that I do is being done with love. So at that point, I don't care what people think, what people do, what people say, because your power is too small to stop any progress of what I'm doing when I act with love. And that's the power of God in you, in me, and in us. See, do we act with love? I don't know. But these are the little things I really find. And you take a subject today that is, when I say, whoa, the brother is taking something heavy today. And as you say, you couldn't even get into it because everybody really finds something that really relevant to what you want to discuss. I thank Allah for you, for your audience, and for the knowledge that we have acquired. So now we have to find out how can we apply that knowledge better. Yes, and we have the detractors among us too. And in scripture, they call them hypocrites sometimes. Why? Because they say things in their mouth that is not in their heart. And the heart is what? The repository of love. I mean, salam alaikum.
You know, there's a saying that no matter how dark a room is, the darkness of the room cannot put out the light of one candle.
Go ahead.
And the darkness of someone else's mind is not going to put out the light that God has placed in me.
That's right.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm going to pull up the minister and then we will call it a day.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me see if I can do this here for the desktop. Hopefully this will work. Let me go to, let's see. I think everyone can see my screen, yes. Okay, where is everything? There we go. I want this. I want this. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
There is a particular. Wait, let's see if I can find it. No, I just saw it.
Actualize when you bring it into concrete reality. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, you can't work the vision. Even if you see it, you gotta now believe that you can bring it. Believe. Not only believe in God, but believe in yourself. Believe that you can do what you envision that must be done. But belief alone is not of any value unless belief is translated into practice or work. And it is belief joined by work that concretizes vision. The vision is only actualized.
Got that one?
Yes, sir.
That. There was a clip that had a little bit more to it, but I might have to find that for another time.
Allow your bodies to be your prison. Because the essence of you is not physical. The essence of you is spiritual. But you can't soar into the spiritual regions that your brain would allow you to go to because you have allowed the lusts of the flesh and the appetite of the flesh to imprison your soul and your mind. So your mind is buried in the grave of your flesh. If your mind were free to soar, if your spirit were free from the confines of your flesh and its lusts and its demands, if you could become the master of your flesh, then you could become the master of the material universe. But you are running from the real war. You want a war with white people. You want a war with Jews or Palestinians. You want a war with every enemy outside of yourself. But you are coward to tackle the biggest fight you will ever have. And that's the struggle with yourself, to master yourself. For in the mastery of yourself is the mastery of everything.
Takbir.
Does that make sense, family?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Okay. And the last one I'm
Allahu
gonna
Akbar.
give to us. The last one. Well, I guess I didn't put it in here.
Then what you're doing is evil. You are not that. I don't care how ugly you present yourself. You are not that. You are manifesting the face of the circumstances that have shaped you. But in each of you is a deeper nature that is of God, for you are a direct descendant of the creator of the heavens and the earth. The Quran says, set your face for religion, being upright, the nature made by Allah in which he has created man. And there is no altering Allah's creation. So at the core of your being, you are the righteous, all of you. But if we were to judge you by what you do, we would run away from you. But the more evil you are, the more I run to you. And you never hear me saying to the drug dealer, you no good so-and-so. I don't like what you do, but I know why you're doing it. I don't like the killing going on between us, but I know the hand that's behind it. So I cannot judge you by your present actions of evil, because your good is buried. Your righteous nature is buried under the circumstances of your life. So I look beyond your faults and I see your need. So I'm always pulling on that nature God in you. I don't care.
All right, family. Mr. iPhone, where have you been, brother?
Oh, working, brother.
It's been
I'm
a
at
while.
I'm at work right now.
Well, Brother D, what we've been talking about over the past 3 hours is going to be up on YouTube within the hour, God willing. But we're glad that you did make it. I think
Yes,
the
sir.
last time we spoke was at Savior's Day, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. Sure was, brother. It was so good to see you and meet you in
Likewise.
person.
Likewise. Do you know the rest of the believers that are on the call?
No.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, brother. Who are you and what do you do?
I am Brother Abdul Iman Muhammad. I was former student minister in Phoenix, Arizona. I have been in the nation since 1973.
Brother don't
I
look
was
too old, does he? Young brother.
I was introduced to this program by Brother Abdul Wahid Muhammad and his lovely wife, Sister Anaya. And I'm very thankful for you, Brother Lukman. You give out a lot of good information, beloved. A lot of good information. It helps to balance out what we've been given in the supreme wisdom, and it gives us another layer or level of understanding. The knowledge is there, but the understanding is what we seek. So I'm here as a student.
Alhamdulillah.
All praise due to Allah, brother. Good to finally see your smiling face.
Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. Good to see yours too, brother.
Right. Well, family, that's three hours and 15 minutes of pure case game. I don't know if I can take too much more.
Are we at the end?
Brother Iman, good to see you, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Naya. How are you?
Fine. Praise be to Allah.
Good. Good to hear your voice. Is Brother Whitehead on?
Yes, sir, he is.
Brother Whitehead. Okay, I don't want to take up no time. Well, I'll get to you after the call, Brother Whitehead. Go ahead, brother.
Day every day, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, family, inshallah, we've got our assignments. God willing, on the 6th, not the 16th, on the 12th, we will deal with ARC Triangle. We will not be having a call on the 19th, for we will be down at Flag, joining our beloved Sister Naira Muhammad and Brother David Muhammad, as we get a chance to kind of step out of our environments and go get some pure, unadulterated theta.
Yes.
Yes,
We're going down to get some energy. We're going to the Dianetic or Scientology Mecca. So, with that being said and done, family, if there's any thoughts, any questions, please send them to me as an email. I will do my best to use those as an assignment. for myself, if you are on course, if you're on the extension courses, please keep me abreast of your extension courses so that I can, with Allah's help, assist connecting your extension courses to our supreme wisdom and our holy Quran. With that being said and done, dear family, let us go ahead and
Brother Lukman, real quick.
take your time, brother.
Session,
take your time.
Will this session that I just missed, will this be on YouTube?
I'm gonna load this up as soon as we get off. It should be up by 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm gonna load it up when we get off.
East Coast time.
East Coast, yeah, 2 o'clock East Coast. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna put it up when we get off.
Thank you so much.
And it's packed. It's packed.
Yes,
it's
sir.
Packed. So there's gonna be 2 sessions because I had to cut it. We had a technical difficulty that was by design. There was something that happened, but allows the best of planners. So there's gonna be 2 pieces that are gonna be uploaded today. Just study both of them, God willing. So
yes, sir. Thank you.
Brother Scott, you want to do us the honors, brother?
Sure, yes, sir. Let us pray. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O Allah, we beseech your help, and we ask your mercy. We believe in you and we trust in you for all that we need. We're helpers in your cause with your apostle. Please grant to us success. Ameen.
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 All right, family. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Alaikum salam. Happy Savior's Day.
Happy Savior's Day.
You do.